Chesley Major. Chesley Major.
What's going on, everybody? I hope all is well and you're having a good and prosperous day. All praise is due to the Most High. Peace and blessings goes out to you and the fam. Many are in fear of the big black takeover. If ever we were given the chance to level the field of play, this video, it takes a very deep dive into that. Why so many people are against us leveling the playing field with things like a hate crime bill or reparations for foundational black Americans, and how to level the playing field. And that's regardless if we get reparations or not. How to start right now. Even though we know it would be a huge help, we not waiting on reparations. But see, a lot of people are against reparations right now. But that isn't going to stop us from fighting for what we deserve and is owed to us, which would level the playing fields. Other people got reparations. Why not FBA? Foundational Black Americans, we need reparations. We need ownership. We need control of things. More Black-owned businesses. We need more funding for our community also. That's just a fact. Plain and simple, because when we get control, we take control and we make things better. But without further ado, we're going to dive into this video. Let's get into it.
First you tell us that it is manly to keep your word. You told us we were free. Well then, show us that we're free. You told us that there is justice, equality for all in this country. Well then, stick to your word. And let us see the justice and equality for all. Or else admit to us that you're not a man. You're a worm. You're afraid of us. You're afraid to give us equal stand. You're afraid that if you give us equal ground, that we will match you and we will override you. And if that's what you're afraid of us, then tell us that just what you're afraid of. But don't keep hiding it from us and holding this up to us, and every time we ask you for something, you give us a little bit of something, and it's all tokenism. We don't want tokenism. And there are most black men in this world that don't want charity. And yet still every time we ask you for something, you give us a little piece, a little piece. You're playing games with us. We're not children.
White folks, I have some very bad news for you. You tried to keep us out of baseball. We got in, we took the fuck over. You didn't want us in the heavyweight championship. You didn't want us. We got in, we took the fuck over. We take over. Basketball, we took over. Football, we took over. You can't keep us out, we'll take over. You know that. We fucked up your tennis. We took over. We fucked up your golf. We took over. Come on, keep it real, white folks. We took over. There's no stopping us. All you have left is swimming. Swim, white people, swim. Swim while you can. Because the black seal is coming.
Spot on. He's right, you know. The dominant society knows when we get a hold of something, we dominate. And that's the thing that has most people in fear. They know when we get something in our hands, we do the most with it. Brother Claude Anderson has a good comprehensive guide on how we could do such a thing. Pay attention.
Collective, cooperative economics. That's what you should be focusing on. Now let's look at that. Collective, cooperative. What does that mean? That means coming together as a people, playing as a group. Why? Because see, racism is a group sport. It's a team sport. Either you play as a team or you lose by default. That's your problem. You're not playing as a team. You have never played as a team. That's your problem. You cannot talk about coming to this ceremony and start talking about collective and cooperative economics without understanding at one point you're playing games with yourself. And so that's the first problem. The second problem is understanding what economics is. Economics is a Greek word. It comes from the word which Greek meaning getting one's domestic house in order. So if you're going to start talking about collective, coming together as a group, or collectively, cooperatively, doing what? Getting one's house in order. You have not done that. No blacks in this country has done that. You've been playing not to win, but play to lose. And so that's the first point. Now, why haven't we come together? They don't have trust. They don't trust each other. You can't trust each other if you don't have a community. A community comes first. Once you get a community, you get to know people, then you move up to the next level, you trust them. Once you learn how to trust people, then you move up to the third level, you begin to cooperate with them. And once you learn how to cooperate with them, you get to the fourth level, you start holding them accountable for what they're doing wrong. The same thing in business. In business, you build a business operation, and competitiveness and powernomics is a 5-story building. The first thing you all should be doing, as I said, get you some institutions like the Chamber and started teaching, acquiring wealth and power through operating businesses. If you build an economy, that's a 5-story building. The first floor must always be economics. Always build an economy before you do everything else. The first floor is the economy. The second floor is politics. The third floor is the court and police departments, the enforcement system. The fourth floor is the media. The fifth floor is schools. Now again, you've been bamboozled on that because they keep telling you that you go to send black folks to school, go jump to the fifth floor and try to come back down. Education can't do nothing. Education is just a tool. You start with your economy. Once you build an economy, a viable, competitive economy, by making your money circulate 8 to 12 times, you take that money and you move to the second floor. The second floor is your politicians. Don't worry about vote. You don't have to vote. People that got money, whether it's organized crime or wealthy people, they don't have to vote. You take your money on the first floor and you buy every politician on the second floor. If you can't buy them, you rent or lease them. And once you rent or lease those politicians or buy them on the second floor, you hold them accountable to go to the third floor. And you stop the police from shooting and killing black folk all the time. And come up with new codes of conduct. Then once you get to the third floor and get the police and court system straight, because you can now effectuate it, then you go to the fourth floor. The fourth floor means media. You cannot own television stations, radio stations, and daily newspapers if you don't have an economy. I hear black folk crying all the time. I have 2 radio stations. I used to have 4. You cannot have a media operation unless you have an economy. Who's going to buy your time, your ads? You got to have an economy to buy the time. And so you got to, right now we have 12,000 radio stations in the United States. We got about 12,000 cable systems, 5,000 daily newspapers, 5,000 TV stations. Black folk own 35,000ths of 1%. You can't even communicate. You can't communicate, you can't organize. You can't get communication because you don't have an economy. And once you get enough money, you put your medium up at the fourth floor. Then lastly, you tell the fifth floor, which is a school system, say, here's what we want. We don't want any more black basketball players and football players. Every black right now, a successful black, has got some kind of an illicit relationship with a ball. Either running with a tennis ball, basketball, golf ball, football, sending on jokes, telling jokes, pretending he's having a ball. Just get away from that. And say from now on, you try to raise kids that can produce something. The producers will be the people survive. Right now, black folk are 0 producers and 100% consumers. You're going to get totally wiped out in this country and wiped off the face of the earth under globalization if you don't learn how to produce vertically. You produce something at the bottom level, then you go up and you have other blacks coming over you. If I'm producing fish, 1 million pounds of fish a year, I want blacks to come in at warehouse, wholesale, distributor, then retail. I want to see some black lobster restaurants in the country. And you build, and about 2 more minutes I got. Now, and you build these vertical orders based on your competitive advantages. Build your businesses where you have a competitive advantage. What are your competitive advantages, black folk? Always build your business where you dominate in population or you dominate in spending patterns. I built the seafood factories. Why? Because blacks eat 3 to 4 times more seafood than whites, and you spend $9 for every $1 whites spend. You should be controlling the seafood industry. Do the same thing with leather. You do the same thing with your hair. Right now, blacks are the only people got a certain quality of hair, and yet the Koreans are controlling black hair care in America. And once you build these businesses, like the difference between Detroit and Chinatown, you got it in Chinatown in New York. In Chinatown, New York, they got about a little less than 300,000 Chinese there. And again, in Detroit, you had almost 1 million blacks. I looked at the two and compared them. In Chinatown, they had 35 banks, 35 Asian banks. In Detroit, they got 2 black banks. That's owned by the same one. How is it that almost 1 million people don't have 2 banks and 300,000 will have 35 banks? I looked at the number of restaurants. The Asians had almost 400-some restaurants in New York. Black folk in Detroit had 3. I looked at and I said, how are these Asians producing so well and has them so much? And Asians have the highest median family income in America. Here's what they do in conclusion. They build around their advantage. average. What is it that Asians eat the most of? They eat noodles. I went and found something like about 100 and some noodle factories in New York where they produce their own noodles. Now, once they produce the noodles, what do you put on the noodles? They put a sauce on the noodles. I found about another 60 or 70 companies that produce the sauce to go on the noodles. And I said, what else they producing? Then when I found that they had, I don't know how many, 35 or 40 companies that make the little fortune cookies. They take care of their own people. That's why you'll never see Asians, Arabs, Hispanic, or American Indians out marching for integration or for social civil rights. They don't do it. They build businesses. I love you all. Take care.
It's going to take a lot of plan, plotting, strategizing, and organizing. It's going to take some group economics. Point blank, period. That's the only way we're going to see our way out of this thing. Group economics. We're going to have to make our money circulate amongst each other way more than it has in the past. Like Dr. Claude Anderson said, it's going to have to be a collective effort. And we're going to have to cooperate with each other. We're going to have to be more cooperative. And that's going to take trust. We got to be able to trust the people in our community so that we can get some control and ownership. And that's how we're going to level the playing field. Reparations or not. And oh, trust me, we are going to get reparations. It's just a matter of time. And that time is soon coming for them to cut that check. Even if it's not in my lifetime, we still going to get it. Because, see, this fight we're fighting, it's a fight for our future, our kids' future, our existence as FBA in the USA. Reparations would be a big help. But they know once we level the playing fields, the takeover is inevitable. Every time they've given us a little chance to get into something, we've done phenomenal things. We've exceeded the limits. We've reached the pinnacle. We've turned it around and we made lemonade out of lemons. Everything we put our hands in, everything that we're involved in, we make it better. Foundational Black Americans, we are the secret sauce of America. We make America better. And that's even with all the odds stacked against us. Because, see, they all know the strength and the power we possess. Look, we not asking for nothing. We're demanding equal playing fields that we deserve. For all the free labor that built this country and gave it its wealth, all the blood, sweat, and tears, cut the check. Anyhow, anyway, anywho, thanks for all that you do. Subscribe at the bell if you're not subscribed. Click that like button. It makes a difference. Peace.